It's been forgotten why Alberta joined Canada in 1905, it was due to the economic changes, and as a result they were getting more populated in Alberta and they wanted the citizens to have the same kind of government as the provinces in Canada. In addition, Alberta couldn't afford schools for their people, so if they joined Canada they could collect taxes and pay for their needs. Between the National Citizens Coalition and the Reform Party, the citizens of Alberta were being misled and manipulated by the use of American governance. A good majority of the citizens hate socialism, yet they don't seem to realize that they are hating the vital services that each and everyone needs. They hate taxes, yet it's taxes that maintain and sustain the province. In fact, Alberta is the only province that doesn't have a provincial sales tax, which is one of the reasons they are in debt. So everything they profess to hate is the cause of their animosity towards Canada. They think they hate Liberals, when it's Canada's way they hate. Yet it's Canada that knows how to maintain and sustain the entire country. What a well-weaved web the Reform Party spun. American Tom Flanagan accepted a teaching position in 1968 with Stephen Harper's alma mater, the University of Calgary. Ezra Levant attended the university and just happened to be in Flanagan's class. Flanagan joined the right-wing populist Reform Party of Canada in 1990 and began working there in 1991 as Director of Policy Research. He quickly became the right-hand man for Preston Manning, Andrew Scheer's mentor. Flanagan, who was among the most conservative of Preston Manning's advisors, was fired before the 1993 federal election. When Harper was leader of the Canadian Alliance in 2002, Flanagan published an article about the party's leadership. Flanagan didn't think it was controversial, but when Harper read it, he told Flanagan that it's always dangerous to share information. Harper froze him out of the inner circle when Flanagan published his 2007 book titled, Harper's Team. Later attempts by the late campaign director Doug Finley and others to bring Flanagan back into the fold ended with unreturned phone calls. So, what's the Calgary school's driving idea? Tom Flanagan's description of his own thinking, influenced by the economist Friedrich Hayek, is perhaps the best way to understand it. Hayek argued that spontaneous order arises when people are left to spontaneously order themselves. I fish. You grow grain. We each need some of each other's goods. We barter until we come to a deal. We do not require the state to help organize us. This earth-shattering idea was exactly how we lived in the pioneer era. There was extreme poverty and a lot of deaths. If these reform parties succeed within a decade, we'd be reduced to a third world status. I read that the extreme right-wing conservative doesn't have new ideas. This look into the Reform Party of Calgary reveals that to be true. Ezra Levant agrees with a Globe and Mail report that once referred to Flanagan as the original godfather of the city's conservative intellectual mafia. Ezra refers to Flanagan as Don Tommaso, master strategist, the godfather, even of Stephen Harper. In 1903, Ezra Levant's great-grandfather emigrated to Canada from Russia. This was during a time when Jewish people were being stripped of many rights. The general attitude towards Jewish people was to look down on the religion and the people. Eventually, some were allowed to move further east. Ezra spent the summer of 1994 in Washington, D.C., in an internship arranged by the Libertarian Cook Summer Fellow Program. He worked for the Fraser Institute in 1995, writing Youthquake, which argued for smaller government, including privatization of the Canadian pension plan. He voiced his views about how his generation was enslaved by debt and society needed to dismantle elements such as trade unions, the minimum wage, universal health care, subsidized tuition, and public pension plans. And that is how we ended up with the Reform Con as Prime Minister, who had no intention of serving Canada but his own egomaniacal desires. This man systematically went about altering our charter, our civil laws, attempted to change our judicial system, and was prepared to support an unnecessary war. So insistent on changing Canada's intelligence system to that of his American teachers. He harmed the infrastructure of every province, managed to change the pensions of our veterans and deny them vital services. He attempted to dismantle the pensions for citizens, but luckily he was thwarted by a liberal. He attempted to find a way to deny the treaties with First Nations by taking the matter to court. He even changed our EI benefits. He tried to change our governance so that no one could stand in his way. In 2019, Alberta does it to themselves again by electing another Reform Party. Why is it that Alberta is so unwilling to realize that blame for their hardships lies with them? Pierre Elliott Trudeau provided a solution to maintain sustainability during the boom years, and Alberta chose to listen to American ideology instead and suffered. Your boom ended. How did Stephen Harper help you? That's right, he didn't. All the Reform Party knows to do is use and use until it becomes stagnant. Then they are lost. They don't build, they don't expand, all they do is make living that much harder. Now you have Justin Trudeau trying to help you, and you've got Kenny, Moe, Pallister, Ford, and Scheer attempting to sabotage Trudeau. Why? Because he's liberal or because he's serving the Canadian way? Time to figure it out, Alberta, because Canada is tired of you blaming the wrong government. Even Joe Clark, a conservative, refused to endorse Stephen Harper. The reason is because Joe Clark could see that Harper had no intention of serving the country well.